Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Life Transformations Podcast. I'm your host, Leo, and today I have the honor of having on as a guest Jorge Brites, aka Jorge underscore B Fitness on Instagram, who has made an incredible transformation himself in his own life, even though different, but also very hard to do, and gone from being, I dare to say, a bit skinny before to now being muscular. And I've also seen that you're now officially a coach at RP Strength, so congratulations on that. And yeah, you're also one of my favorite people to watch when it comes to reels. You always have very wise things to say. So welcome to the podcast, and thank you for doing this.
Leo, my man, I'm honored. Thanks for having me. And yeah, again, too kind. Really appreciate you again having me here, and I'm glad that I've been able to some extent to provide value to you, and that's what we all do. Same to you. I love your content. Um, Very inspirational, your transformation, and um, yeah, I'm also very pumped about you. Starting your own coaching. And so, yeah, congratulations on that, and looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, so I have basically prepared a few questions for you, and yeah, then you can just, of course, also feel free to both under this time and towards the end to just ask me also anything that you are curious about, of course, right? But I guess the first thing I wanted to start to give people maybe a picture of like where did you start off weight wise, and like how was your shape growing up, and where are you at now, just maybe even give us some numbers where you are in weight and so on.
Sure. So, um, it's very interesting because I actually grew up quite overweight.
Okay.
I'm not sure if for sure. I sometimes I share different parts of my journey, but I actually grew up being kind of the chubby kid in the family. Despite growing up with a dad that was a coach in swimming. I actually learned to swim before I learned to walk
Okay.
because my dad like taught me since very little. Then as I grew, I started to just compete in swimming at a high level. At 12-year-old, when I was 12 years old, I was already competing at high level swimming on basically from when I was 8 years old to 15 years old. That was basically my life.
Wow.
But despite that, I was just very overweight, at
Mhm.
least during that period of time. And
That's I mean that's unusual for a swimmer, right? Or no?
it depends
Okay.
because if you are, as you know, you cannot outwork a bad diet.
Of course.
Uh, Despite the fact that swimming does burn a lot of calories, um, actually being in the water does increase hunger quite a bit. And if
Yeah.
you, on top of that, have high hunger cues, yeah, that's an interesting mix right there.
Mhm. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so after, so you were swimming, and you were, as you saying, a little bit overweight then, and so like how heavy were you then? What are
Yes.
we talking about? Yeah.
So basically, I grew up because of that. Of course, you might relate to this. I grew up with a lot of just insecurities. I had this lingering thought that there was something wrong with me, that I was broken to a degree because, yeah, it's very rare to see swimmers and more specifically high level swimmers also dealing with being overweight. You can see that in like people who are learning to swim and like just not high level um trainees,
Hmm.
let's call it. But at a high level swimming team, it's very rare to see someone that's just a bit out of shape. But that was the case for me. I was actually swimming basically 6 days a week,
Hmm.
very high intensity, thousands of yards on a daily basis.
Wow.
really tough stuff. But at the same time, I was consuming, just guesstimating at this point, yeah, around 4,000, 5,000 calories a day,
Mhm.
not even, you know, trying hard. It was just my day-to-day intake. Um, but when I turned about around 14, I believe, I started to just make an active effort to manage my weight because I was just like, I need to do something. I refuse to live this way. I'm tired of just feel like I don't belong or like I'm less than uh, my teammates, my friends. And so I started to take some active actions to change. Now, throughout that journey, as you might also relate to a degree, because I mean, we all are humans, we make mistakes. I made tons of mistakes, which I do my best to help people not to make,
Mhm.
because it's definitely not a fun experience. So basically, I tried, of course, to eat clean, cut carbs. Uh, Even at a point, I went vegan.
Okay.
Uh, let's no, it was not vegan, vegetarian.
Mhm.
But I did it not in the best. I did not follow the best approach. I did listen to just quite misleading advice from someone that I thought that was um, trustworthy. So I actually, when I made this change, which was going vegetarian, that was when I was around 14 years old. I went to a nutritionist,
Mhm.
and this person basically told me, a 14-year-old, yeah, so I think that you're doing really good, but she's actually started to tell me, um, oh, I'm going to basically try to quote her here, but she said, um, meat was just carcinogenic.
Oh, wow.
You know, just basically start to just put all these thoughts in my head. And again, as a very young, easily impressionable,
Of course.
I just took drastic action and went just completely for like a year vegetarian. Um, I was, of course, not paying too much attention to just protein consumption, not nothing like that. And on that year, I actually, yeah, I lost a lot of weight because just like any elimination diet, I cut a lot of foods. I
Yeah.
also started to eat like super clean, and so my daily diet was basically just veggies, salads, maybe some tofu and
Mhm.
soy, and that was it for about a year or so. So I went from, I want to say, if I had an estimate, as a overweight 300-pound
Okay.
14-year-old.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, I was something like 5'8",
Mm.
uh, and I was, yeah, about 300 pounds at a time, to what I would say a 5'11", because again, I grew up a
Mhm.
bit at that time. After a year, 5'11", 130, 140.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
a big, a
Yeah.
big change. I could share with you some pictures afterwards, but
Sure.
it was a drastic change.
That's a lot in 1 year.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
That's
that was a
yeah.
that, that was a huge roller coaster, and I can dive into what that was like. But yeah, that was basically the first major change that I achieved.
Yeah, and that, I mean that in itself, I mean, I understand that for yourself. I think looking back at it now, as you said yourself, you probably didn't do it in the best way possible, right? And it was probably still healthier for you to not be 300 pounds, but at the same time, of course, it wasn't maybe the best way to do it, but it's still, even though it still took a lot of strength just to do that either way, because you did it in the best way that you thought you could do it at that point. So yeah, yeah.
I would say that I wish I don't, I tried not to undervalue the efforts that I made in that accomplishment itself because, you said it yourself, I think it's something worth
Yeah.
uh just kind of celebrating to a degree. But man, I think the trade-off was not worth it at all. I could easily tell you that I was feeling much healthier, stronger, and just much better when I was a 300-pound athlete
Mm.
than when I was a 130-pound, um, super skinny, super under muscle.
Yeah.
Uh, and by the way, with lots of um, issues, let's call it that way. I'm not sure what the term is at this point, but yeah, I had a lot of
I mean, we can talk about body
like
dysmorphia
disorders.
probably, right?
Yeah,
Or
no, totally.
yeah.
Let's call them
Yeah.
disorders.
Yeah, sure.
Adolescent.
Hmm.
I remember very vividly that when I was in that stage, I just had I just had so much anxiety, you know, all the time when it came to just going out, being around people that were eating, certain foods that I was not allowed to eat. Also, just the day-to-day life, like just moving out. I definitely remember the weak, the how bad it felt, the weakness, just not standing up, sitting down. I was at a point I was like, man, I'm 14, 15 years old. I should not feel this way. Like my joints hurt, everything hurt when I would attempt to move. And again, I was very aware of that because I did exercise at a high level my entire life. So I knew I was like, yeah, this is just not good. Like I should not, my knees should not hurt when I squat. I should not feel so lethargic all the time. Um, but again, I think that's, it's all part of the journey, and that led to a degree to where I am now today. So it is, that's that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can just tell you from my own experience that something I've shared with several people is that I think that in some ways you can only achieve like great things if you first hit rock bottom. That has been kind of my experience. So for me as well, I had to be so heavy that I was on my way to an early grave before I could turn things around, basically, right? So I understand, and yeah, it's interesting that I can relate to some of the stuff you're saying because I felt also much older in my teens because yeah, I was somewhere also close to 300 pounds as a teen,
Okay.
and yeah, and then I got even heavier later, but yeah, but
Wow. And what's your height, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 5'9".
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I was yeah, and I was probably a bit shorter then, I guess, too. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I mean, yeah, at my heaviest, um, which was a few years ago, I got to 463 pounds, 210 kilos. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
So I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then from there I got down to 193 at my lowest, and yeah, now I'm somewhere around 225, and yeah, yeah. Uh, Probably long term, I think that probably at my most comfortable between around maybe 205, 215. I think that's a decent weight for me. Then of course it depends what I'm gonna try to do. I might try to get much leaner in the future, depending on what I decide to do. If I want to do something more into bodybuilding and so on. But yeah,
I
yeah,
highly recommend it. At the end
yeah,
of the day, I think that when you get deep into this fitness journey thing, and I mean, based on at least what I've seen from you in social media, I can tell that you're very immersed in
yeah.
fitness, health. I think that it's always worth to push your limits when you are in something that you are very passionate about. So I'm not saying that you have to step on stage on a bodybuilding stage, because you don't have to. Like I tell my clients all the time, it's like, just because I'm coaching you and I am a bodybuilder does not mean that you have to step on stage, you know. However, I think that since I see you so like immersed into this, hey, like let's really work hard for something, you know, like
Yeah.
what is something that's coming up soon? Like, is it a wedding? Is it summer? Is it, you know, maybe we could even plan a photo shoot, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I,
Let's,
I, I do that from time to time, that I plan some photo shoots, and then I try to prepare for that. And like, for example, that's one of the ways that's one of the things I did basically last year, that I planned the photo shoot for the 1st of August, and then I worked towards that, and that's when I got to my lowest weight, right? So yeah, so that's one thing to do. I mean, uh, my current thinking is that now this year I'm still working on basically mostly body composition, but nothing crazy weight wise. Uh, in 2027, I'm thinking I might probably try to do a fake prep, and see if I can get to below 10% and how that looks and feels. And yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of something which I'm thinking about. Yeah. So yeah, so we'll see how everything goes, and yeah, I got I'm definitely someone who is ambitious and who wants to do things. And as you said, it doesn't have to be. I don't necessarily think I might win a bodybuilding competition. That's not what I think, right? But at the same time, even just if I could get to competing, that would be a challenge, which is something that would be stimulating in a very good way. So I'm not motivated by staying still, if you know what I mean.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you're probably the same. So yeah.
If you don't mind me adding to that, and this is just a thought, something that I learned after I competed my first time, but
Mhm.
more so my second time, which is where I think the magic happens. And again, this does not just apply to competing, can apply to even just a photo shoot, right? The amazing thing about fitness is that you can, if you want, compete against other people as in a bodybuilding stage. But the biggest thing for me, two things. One, the competition with yourself. I cannot tell you how cool it is to, you know, you prep once and you worked really hard for that. But then 2 years later, you prep again and you did your best again.
And you
And
compare.
now, because you have, by the way, highly recommend to gather data. So get pictures, get videos, try to get it on a setting that you know that it's going to be consistent at
Consistent. Yep.
that time.
Yep.
And then 2 years later, you get lean again, you get diced out again, and you take the video, you take the picture, and then you can compare. Man, it's cool. It's like you see, wow, I didn't that striation on the shoulders was not there before, or that like my quads are like 2 inches bigger than last time at this body composition. That's awesome, right? And so it's a, you know, the competition with yourself. And secondly, I think it's also very valuable to record your process, because this might sound like a little cheesy, okay?
Mhm.
But it's a reality. It's it's not accomplishing big things what makes us really that um happy with our results. It's not even the results themselves, but most of the time it's the journey.
I
I
completely
don't
agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I know. I've said this before as well, and I think that chasing something that you really want is the chase itself. It's basically what's actually keeps you alive, basically.
I
Yeah,
can tell you,
yeah.
again, some people might disagree with me because different people, different thought process. But for me specifically, when I prep for a bodybuilding show, the less I care about is actually stepping on stage. Like when I stepped every time, because at first I thought, well, it's because I'm not like super immersed into this. I can tell you now, I've been prepped for about 4 shows, I think, maybe five, four. Let's say
Oh.
four. It's always the same thing. Okay, yeah, stepping on stage is awesome. Like I enjoy it. But honestly, for the most part, I'm almost like to a degree, I'm like, okay, I want just to get this done. What's actually worth it for me is actually afterwards, just
Mhm.
being able to just observe how far I went, like how far this thing, how I could take myself from this starting point to this starting to this end line.
Mhm.
And just seeing the videos, also like seeing the notes, seeing my diary, like okay, the thoughts that I had. And despite all that, you push through. That's freaking awesome. um and yeah, I mean, it's I think that I had a quote in in the back of my head that I want to share with you, but anyways, if I remember, I'll share with you. But
No worries, no worries. But yeah, I can relate to basically everything you're saying, and I even though I haven't competed, I'm not at that point yet. But even for what I've done so far, I always compare myself to me, and that's basically the first thing I do anyways. And I always yeah. Um, it's exciting just always improving basically and whenever you feel like you are if you ever feel like you are done, then what's life? Right.
I feel it, like
Yeah, so yeah, but before we get way too off topic on, but this is really good stuff. But I was just wondering if we go back a little bit. We were talking about you and your, I guess when you got to your um, lowest weight, right? I guess around 130 and so on. I think you've made very clear the things that you were unhappy about at that point, from joint pain, from not be able to moving around, to having no energy and all of that stuff as a teen. Uh, but how did you find the push from within you to get yourself out of that situation? And was it that you uh, did you start the journey by getting into lifting quite early, or is it something that came later? So, what sparked your change? Did you have a motivation specifically, or how did that happen? I mean,
good question. So the thing is, I'm very fortunate that I grew up in a household where first I had a lot of um people care about me, to like I had a good family. I have a good family. And so my siblings, my parents, and everyone around me, like they generally wanted to help. And when I got to that point, they were very open to share their concerns with me, because when you see someone that you care about, someone that you love suffering, you just want to help. And so they made their concerns clear to me. And because historically, I know that they have been there for me, I was open enough to listen. I heard what they had to say, and I tried my best to, make positive changes. However, as you know, when you are in a low point, it's really hard to change. Um,
and also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but also for myself, anyways, whenever I was trying to change because someone else told me to change, that never worked out. So I just wanted to get that thought in there, but I don't know if it's the same for you, but yeah.
well, can you repeat that? Because I want to
I
about
yeah,
that.
no, I think that for me, for myself, I think that whenever I was trying to do something or trying to change because someone else told me to, because someone else told me I should change. That never worked for me long term anyways. I could try if I was trying to do something to please someone else, that didn't work usually. And then so I had to get to the point where I wanted to do it for me. That's yeah.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, and I totally relate to you on that end is you are never going to change unless you actually take the decision yourself. That's, as as a coach, that's also, the same story with people that you want to help. It's you cannot help someone that does not want to help themselves. Even though they might want, but there's a difference between wanting, just kind of wanting to do something and actually deciding to take action and do it. And yeah, sometimes you might want something, but you're not in a headspace or in a position where you are actually going to do it yourself. Um, I was definitely there in that at that point in many times during that process. But for the most part, I think the biggest issue that I had was when I was at my low end, I was weak. I was used to being this person that always struggled. Either it was with being overweight or because I was underweight. But in essence, I had this thought that I was just like obsolete. I was less than basically anyone. And yeah, I mean, it took a lot of work to get out of that headspace. Um, good. The good thing is that, by the way, during that time that I lost a lot of weight because, of course, I was getting so weak, I stopped. I definitely stopped lifting weights.
Mhm.
I was, doing at-home workouts, which was basically some ab circuits here and there, uh, but nothing that actually allowed me to maintain most of my muscle.
Yeah.
And when I started to make the active effort to change, I actually said to myself, you know what, like I need to change. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of feeling weak. I'm sick and tired of being this way. And it's not until I just told myself I'm no longer going to allow myself to be this way that I joined a gym. I started to lift weights and I tried to change my mindset from just being skinny and small to be strong, capable, to allow myself to gain weight and just like slowly but surely create uh these this thought, these sorry, I'm losing the I need to I'm trying to find the word I want to
Mhm.
use. These just I had to convince myself that allow me to gain weight meant gaining muscle, meant gaining um being able to just be in the world, right? And so that was my thought process going into it. Um and then slowly over time, I think the biggest win for me was understanding that small win at a time, I started to create a new identity. So it was first, in the gym. The gym actually taught me a lot about that because you start lifting and then you really feel not that motivated at the beginning. In fact, you feel very anxious because people are watching you and observing you, and you think that they are looking at you when in fact you're looking at them, and because you're looking at them, they look at you, and that's how it goes. But anyways, I don't want to sidetrack here. Uh, Over time, you start to notice that, okay, I did one more rep than last time. That felt great. Awesome. I added 5 pounds. And then your work capacity increases. And seeing that change was very positive to me. And slowly over time, I realized that also applied to just everything else in life. The more I see myself succeeding and seeing progress, actually slowly but surely builds a new identity, which is the identity that I want to create, an identity that's capable, that can do more. And how do I know? How did I slowly but surely understood that I could do more? Because I saw myself actually doing it.
Mm.
And yeah, over time, I slowly start to gain weight. I really focused during a year during that. I want to say from when I was 14 to 16, I start to really focus on just hypertrophy training, allowing myself to gain more weight. And I think that I went from 140 to around 190 in a year. And
That's incredible too. Okay, yeah.
yeah, of course, I was a bit chubbier, but
Uh-huh.
definitely so much more muscle, and I felt so much better.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think that was basically the second bigger change that I had, um, from 14 to 16. Of course, made some mistakes here and there, but very mild stuff in the sense that I was not optimizing things. Of course, just like a new lifter doing bra split, really focused on just like ego lifting to a degree.
Mhm.
But we all start somewhere, and
I mean,
that
as a kind of beginner, basically, honestly, what you do exactly, it's not going to make that huge percent of a difference.
absolutely.
Just putting in the effort is going to give you some result. Yeah.
Yeah, but in essence, I mean, a long story short, I saw myself making gains in the gym. I saw myself improving my numbers, and that slowly but surely allowed me to just change my mindset around basically everything else. You can really apply that same concept in life. I do believe that it's thanks to lifting and also my past in sports that allowed me to realize that holy cow, like wait, uh, this works everywhere. I am not the way I am. I am my habits. I am what I do, and I am also the things that I say to myself. And so once you start to realize that, you gain that's powerful because you basically understand that you're not meant to be in a specific way. Yes, you might have your specific circumstances,
Mhm.
but to a great degree, you have a lot of agency in your life,
Yeah.
and you're in control. Yeah,
I'm gonna throw you a quote. Is not who you are underneath, it's what you do that defines you.
absolutely.
From the Dark Knight trilogy, but yeah. uh, yeah, I think it applies here, and I agree with you on the fact that it is the same for me. That I've definitely, it's kind of you gain confidence by doing things, and even when you don't believe in yourself, just do it anyways, and you will slowly start to believe more. Do it when you don't feel like it. Do it when you don't believe in yourself. Do it anyways. Yeah,
You don't need the reality is that you don't need to feel like doing stuff to get them done.
yeah.
Uh, People overvalue how they feel, undervalue actually doing the thing. Also, a lot of people don't realize that just taking action changes how you feel as well. I mean, this is another thing that you learn in fitness, you learn in the gym. You might not feel like going to the gym in a Monday morning, but damn, man, like you do that session, okay? I do not know anyone who shows up in a Monday morning to a session that did not want to go that morning, that afterwards does not feel like a little bit accomplished at least. Like you do feel much better afterwards, right? So
Always.
taking action changes the way you feel as well. And that's I think something worth noting as well.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I've observed myself that I've shared like to other people too is that even though, let's say for weight gain or weight loss, the most important thing is going to be your calorie balance, right? And so being either at a surplus or deficit and so on. But my experience is that training is what gives me the discipline that I use on my diet too. because forcing myself to do hard stuff all the time, that translates to me then having an easier time forcing myself to do the stuff with the diet and so on as well. So I think there is, and that translates to other areas of life as well. So I'm with you. Like when you force yourself to train and you force yourself to train hard and force yourself to do it on the days that you don't feel like it, you will learn a skill of actually forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, but that you know are gonna give you good results. So yeah,
I love that. I love that. I think that, I mean, I try to, when I phrase things, I also like to just phrase things in a way that's a little bit more palatable for people who are not used to doing these things.
of course.
And,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mind at all using the word forcing, but I like to put it this way. We are humans, and our behaviors are inherently created for us to just make things as simple as possible. And a lot of people view things like, for example, consistency and or discipline as these like chains, as this thing that has you constrained, right? In and does not allow for freedom. And I would argue when people put things that way, I just try to frame it in this way: is you are, if anything, you are chained by your habits and your and behave in the behaviors that are not fitting, that do not align with the goals that you have, which is why you're here with me as your coach. Discipline and consistency is nothing but the freedom of you actually taking the rails towards the outcome that you want. Is actually deciding to prioritize what you want most over what you want now. And so when you put it that way, it's like, yeah, I think that's kind of worth it. At the end of the day, there's always a price to pay, and you're either compromising your future self, and or you are actually paying with the work that you do now. And the question is, are you willing to make the trade-off? If it's worth it for you, then amazing, go for it. If it's not, hey, that's fine. But there's always a price to pay.
agreed, agreed. No, it's amazing. I mean, basically, you have done. I mean, you have done several transformations to basically throughout your life. So and as I said at the beginning, when I hear you talking on reels and so on, I can see that you know what you're talking about. You're actually very wise, and yeah. So yeah, this is great stuff. This is great stuff. Yeah,
Excellent. Thank you.
yeah. So um, I guess what I'm wondering, because you have gone from overweight to, I guess, very underweight, and then to muscular, and now competing, and all of that. What would you say is your main current goal? What are you working towards right now?
Good question. So I have many goals. I'd say in a personal level, I want to just I'm very into just bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is my main personal personal body body wise.
Hmm.
Um, I really think that just working towards improving myself, my body is has allowed me to this point to also improve in every other aspect of my life, and just striving to get a little bit better every single day. I think it's my main thing. I like to see progress, and that's just kind of my outlet, the way in which I work towards it. Um, I would love to become a natural pro.
Hmm.
Uh, if not this upcoming year, we'll see, because there's just a lot of stuff that it's going on work-wise. If not, I will just keep making gains as per usual
Yeah,
uh, this year and likely compete in 2027. We'll see.
cool.
And yeah, that's on a personal level. I mean, on when it comes to training, on a personal level, I mean, there are just so many um, opportunities with work, uh, so many changes in life currently, and so I'm trying to just maximize what I can accomplish on that end as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, as you know, I started working as a coach under RP and just very blessed with the opportunity. I'm also working on other projects behind scenes.
Okay.
And again, I'm just very, very happy um, for the opportunities and just trying to just provide as much value as possible on that end as well. Um, and aside from that, just trying to balance out life as well. I
Not
definitely,
easy.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because now that I'm just kind of thinking while I'm at the same time that I'm talking, like, okay, what my goals are, and I realize that most of the time I definitely put aside a lot of just just personal um goals.
Mhm.
Personal in the sense of relationship wise, and also just life wise. I definitely put that aside a lot because I like to see progress and I just kind of prioritize always work and training and that's it. And so I would also add to that another goal that I have for myself this year and onward is yes, work towards progress. Yes, make yourself better and your life better and the people around you better, but also learn to take a step back and just look at um the view,
Mhm.
enjoy life a little bit more and just relax and actually um just kind of live what you have accomplished and not just chase the next thing. That's it.
I need to take some notes from that too.
You're going in a similar bucket.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that balance somewhere. So yeah, I tend to just keep going and yeah, yeah. So but I am trying to do small things here and there and just to enjoy life more as well. So I appreciate that you say that because it's when you are someone like you who's very motivated and very driven, then you kind of have to force yourself to take breaks and force yourself to enjoy things. And sorry, I know you don't like the word the word force, I guess, but I kind of you need to like schedule. I need to like schedule free time. Okay, now I'm gonna schedule an hour when I don't have anything booked. You know, yeah.
I mean, a few things that I also like to add there is that there's it's definitely different for different people.
Mhm.
One thing to understand is that balance is a thing that really depends on the person.
Yeah.
What I consider as balance might not be the same for you.
Mhm.
My current life, I think I would assess that it's quite balanced.
Mhm.
However, if I were to, maybe have uh Tom, my new client who's new to fitness,
Mhm.
I would have tried to have him following my same schedule. He'd say, "Are you insane? Like, how can you live like this? Like, uh, where's free time? When can I have my cheat meal? Like, how can you even live like this?" I would be like, "Well, that's my balance, and that's okay. Your life,
Different, just different goals and different. That's
different,
okay. Yeah,
different
and
goals, different strokes for different folks.
yeah.
And you can't compare your chapter one with someone else's chapter 100. Also, you might not be even reading the same book,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
um, that being said, I think that it's really important to at least your mental health to find time to just be with people, to interact with others, and also, understand that if you really want to do your best at something, you need to take breaks at times. You need to relax. And by the way, that's a that's something that, again, once again, I've learned to implement in life, thanks to just fitness and lifting and just um sports science, which is periodization. It's
Mhm.
like, you hear this all the time in social media, people who will say, work hard, no days off, no rest time. If you need a rest day, you're weak. I'm like, my man, if you don't listen, if you don't need a weekend, that really means that you didn't work. You either did not work hard enough at work, you're not doing valuable stuff or valuable enough stuff at work. That's the reality. Like, if you're not looking forward to a few days off after a week of work, then you could be doing better work, and you know it.
Mhm.
To the same degree that if you don't feel like you need a few days off after a hard week of just like really hard training, or at least a day off to unwind, then you could be doing better. Or also, if we extend it a little bit more, people who will say that will also say, yeah, I don't need deloads. Deloads are for the weak. I'm like, let me take a look at your training plan. Like,
Yeah.
just let me take a peek, or let me take a peek at your effort in the gym.
I mean, I think that's the same category of people that will say that they train legs 3, 4 times a week. I'm like, come on, man. I mean,
Absolutely. I'm like,
I really train
see
legs
that.
hard 4 times a week. No way you're recovering from that.
Absolutely. Like, and then you see that, and it's like
Yeah,
maybe a few squats in the morning and like 6 RAR. But of course, some grunting here and there, and
yeah,
that's yeah, you could be doing better.
yeah,
Like, so yeah, if you want to do your best, not to deviate, if you want to do your truly your best, then it's in your best interest to find time to unwind and manage fatigue, because you're not a robot, and fatigue will rise if you're actually pushing limits.
yeah. So on that note, I mean, I did something which was a hard decision for me personally to make, and I took 1 week completely off from lifting now, right? So I'm gonna start again tomorrow, actually. So now this was my seventh day, I guess. So I have basically haven't done that since I started lifting consistently about 2.5 years ago. I've only kind of taken breaks when I've been sick or traveling or stuff like that. So yeah, I felt like this was the right timing. I've been feeling a bit burned out from different things, so I decided to take a week off. And people can judge me if they want, but it was, I think it was actually kind of hard to do in a way, but I felt like it was the right thing to do. And one of the reasons for that is just because if I was actually only training, maybe I might not have needed a full week off. But since I am working full time, I have a long commute to and from work. Then I'm also starting to coach on the side. I'm doing the podcast, and yeah, I'm training and I'm walking a lot, and yeah, I have a walking group too. So I'm doing a ton of things, and sometimes you just need to put the dial down a little bit on one thing for a little bit, and so everything falls in place, and you actually manage to do it long term. So yeah,
Call it a active rest phase.
yeah, yeah.
Like, we just sharing some thoughts here. I actively do myself, and also have for clients that are like very, very consistent, like yourself. Uh, yeah, we do a deload
Mm.
after, let's say, 4 or 5 mesos back to back, hypertrophy emphasis. Yeah, like taking a deload plus a week off from training,
Mhm.
super valuable, because I mean, you're not losing muscle. Let's be honest, you're not losing muscle.
Yeah, not in
Uh,
1 week. I mean, yeah,
you are dropping a ton of fatigue, and you're also desensitized to training. So I promise you, like, this is your 7th day.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my man, like, I can. I want you to let me know how that first session back in feels. Comes to be out of this world. And that entire week, I mean, of course, fingers crossed nothing happens, but that entire week, if nutrition is where it needs to be, you're sleeping well, like you are going to have the sessions of your life. So enjoy it, enjoy the process. And now you're going to be in a much better position to actually make more gains. So only gaining from here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So I think we have discussed a lot of good stuff. I have basically mostly two questions left, and I will put them forward at the same time, and then you can just talk about that. And so, number one is if you have anything that you would like to add, um, I guess about your own journey, but also like even just as general advice that people might want to hear from you who are listening to this. And the last thing is if you have any other questions for me, basically. Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, let me see. I want to share maybe some thoughts. Let me see if I can frame them well, and
Mhm.
we'll go from there. So, something that I wish I understood when I first started lifting, and even mid journey, because you start to just try to figure things out and try to get better. When it comes to fitness, when it comes to lifting, and this applies to honestly most things in life, and I have realized that now to this point of my life, really advanced stuff, really advanced results come from doing the basics really, really well. Not chasing, not through the latest hack, not through the latest trend. The people who are at the top are not doing any of that. They're literally just doubling down on the basics. Um, there's this principle, the Pareto principle. 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts.
Mhm.
So double down on that, truly. When it comes to nutrition, you know this really well. Uh, calorie balance, protein intake, fiber intake, and then just be very, very consistent and clear with what you want. Because that's another thing. If there's not clarity, if there's not a clear outcome that you want, then it's really hard to move forward. It's really hard to direct yourself towards anywhere if you don't know exactly where that is.
Mhm.
So if it's fat loss, okay, what does that mean? That means losing weight. Uh, if it's muscle gain, uh, well, that means put on some weight. So be clear. Don't just, you know, swing between stages. Like don't just change approach every single week. Be consistent. So that's one. And the second thing would be, this is a very big breakthrough that a lot of, at least my clients, go through when they start. And is that a lot of people have this lingering thought that either one, they are just the way they are. They are the way they have always been. I've always been overweight. I've always been out of shape. I've always been lazy. And or they might just not think things that deeply, because people just have to live their day-to-day life. um, they assume that they are the way they are, and they assume that they just kind of react to what life throws at them. But the reality is that we are our habits, we are the things that we do consistently, and we are what we tell ourselves. Now, that might sound, again, repetitive and silly, because you might hear that a lot on socials and from others. But when you actually understand that, that's really, really powerful, because that means, again, that you are not just, you have agency. You can actually change at any time, any given moment. You can actually just say, look back, assess, what life looks like to you and just say, I don't like that, and change. And by changing your actions consistently enough, you change your behaviors. And by changing your behaviors, you change your life and you change your identity as well. So that's that's a big thing to keep in mind. And if you, again, you can change. So just take one step at a time and don't try to be perfect. Just start.
That's amazing advice. Amazing advice. And I agree about basically with everything you said. And it's doing the basics over and over again is what's going to get you the most results. And yeah, what I used to say, what I usually say to everyone who's starting out is basically try to do something which is a little bit better than yesterday, and then we'll take it from there. You know, I think that's a starting point. Just start doing it. Just start doing something a little bit better, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but just better. Yeah,
Totally agree.
amazing. Anything else maybe that you would like to ask me then to finish off, I guess?
We could, yes, totally. So, I mean, I'm curious on your own journey. So you said that you're currently you took a week off and you're still striving to lose, to improve your body composition. Are you yourself currently chasing more fat loss? What's 2026 plans? What can you tell me about what you're working towards right now?
Sure, sure. So I have basically, regarding my body, I have one main goal for this year, and that is to get my waist to be less than half of my height. So for me, that's around 34 inches. And so right now I'm at maybe 38, 39, somewhere around there. So basically, but basically, ideally, I want to do that with minimal weight loss.
Okay,
So basically, building still a lot of muscle throughout the process.
see.
So that's what I'm trying to do. So at the moment, I'm not trying to lose weight at all. Basically, I'm trying to stay quite stable weight-wise and just doing a recomposition. Of course, there is a bit of fluctuations along the way there, but then in a few months, I'm planning more of a cut phase and to cut down and then so get some more definition and all of that. And yeah, yeah. But I'm not gonna do anything crazy weight-wise this year. So I will, yeah. Uh, I can pretty safely say I'm probably not gonna get below 200 pounds even this year. That's not basically the goal. Yeah. Um, so we'll see exactly where I end up, but I'm not focusing too much on the number on the scale. But I want to shrink my waist more and just grow muscle. That's basically the plan for this year. And yeah, as I've mentioned, in 2027, I will probably attempt a fake prep at some point
Good.
and see how that works out. Yeah.
And I
Um,
mean, honestly, that sounds like very solid goals. Super. I mean, I think it's more than doable. So wishing you the best of luck, and I'm here to see that, unravel. I want to see that happening. Let's go.
Thank you, thank you, and I definitely want to see you get your pro cards too. That sounds amazing.
Fingers
Yeah, yeah. So that's a great thing to chase. So, all right, I think this is a great way to finish things off. We have, I think we shared a lot of stuff that people will find useful. I think we have a lot of similar mindsets, and yeah, man, I mean, this is the motto right here, right? Uh, um,
RP always killing it, right?
yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So, yeah, thank you very much, and we will definitely keep in touch. Uh, but thank you for taking your time, and also thank you for everyone who listened and watched to this. So, yeah, I'll talk to you next time then.
Talk to you next time, man. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you. Bye.